I thought I'd do this in a video form because why not? So let's start with the winner. It is no surprise that the house that I want to be with forever and live in is the Frank Lloyd Wright house. Part of why this is no surprise for me is just I've been attracted to these aesthetics for a pretty long time in architecture. Um, I've always loved, I have this image pulled up when houses incorporate trees openly. So I really liked the way that he left the rock in and moved the post around the tree. I have in my room, I am on the second floor, and I have a tree that is incredibly close to my window at some points. It's only a couple feet away. Um, and I love it because I get to watch the seasons change, and I just feel like I'm in the tree, which is a really, really cool experience. Um, and I love Zen gardens, and so it makes sense that he would be taking Japanese influence there. And for me, when I think of modern houses, or at least modern houses that I'm drawn to, I think of wood and a lot of glass and natural materials with hints of white and black, but not that like just flat white. So to get into the exterior parts that I like, I really like how he used concrete because typically I'm not a big fan of concrete and just like flat textures like that. But he, by having it in these long horizontal bars, not only does it make it more interesting, but divvying it up makes it less abrasive. It blends in a lot better. And then having it contrasted with the upright trees and then the upright um, stone bits here is lovely. And I just think it flows really nice into the space. And I feel like I would be peaceful there. I can imagine waking up there and feeling kind of at one with nature. And I like the idea of me being in harmony with my home and my home being in harmony with the environment and everything flowing together. Um, the cantilevered, is it cantilevered roofs, awnings? I really like this. One of the things for me that is part of why I'd never, well, actually, I would if they had this, but part of why I'm hesitant about modern houses is because I wish I had more privacy in them. Like, there are so many windows, yet at the same time, that's part of what makes them so beautiful. So I think this is a really great solution, and I like that you can be underneath the awning and still feel like you're part of the outdoors while being protected from the elements. And an example that I loved in this one was this. Um, just like I can envision myself if it's like it's raining and I'm sitting on that little bottom step here with my feet hanging in the water and there's the rain coming down around, but it's not hitting me, and just this really peaceful, and it's like a sunny rain, like a spring rain. I can just envision that calm moment. And I also think this is a good example of how even though he has a lot of really wide open spaces in the building, there are also these kind of hidden special nooks. And I think that to me is kind of what nature is. It's like this big, broad expanse, yet there are these little places that you can find in it to make your own. Um, I just thought this was a really pretty view. Okay, so let's get into the interior design. The one hesitation that I had about Frank Lloyd Wright, his living in a house of his, is the furniture issue because I do not like all of his furniture. For example, I hate this furniture. I did not like the interior design of the, is it robe or roby? I don't know. I hate it. And for me, furniture is a big deal, and home decor, and being able to make the space somewhere that I'm comfortable. So, like, I could not live in a Frank Lloyd Wright house like this. But the great thing about Fallingwater is that the interior design is just up my alley. Lots of warm tones, very welcoming, and all the windows. I love natural light. I think it's probably comes out of the fact that I love photography, but natural light is just so welcoming. And right now, I'm super happy because it's nice outside here, so I'm able to have my shades up and let that light in. And just the way that it creates energy in a room, I think is really, really powerful. And so I like the combination of that warm natural light with then these warm, inviting pieces of furniture. But they're also not overpowering. And oh, and then here, oh rats, you can see. Oh, never mind. It's not this picture. Never mind. This I thought was cool. So you can see there's kind of right here this glass space as if you can look down into somewhere, which I believe you can. But I really liked that with that, it's from a different perspective. You can see the flower pot there. So this glass space you can look down in, and then you can plant flowers here inside and have them grow. So it's like you're bringing nature into the home, in the bookshelves. It's just really, really lovely. And the way he incorporated the windows too, like having the way they're framed, it doesn't feel like it was, ugh, this is a necessity, we have to do it, I hate doing this. It really is well incorporated into the design and feels just like a fluid part of the home. So they open up to where I love that you could do like every other one, and it just all flows so naturally. It's great. I think I have some other pictures of the interior design that I just thought were particularly nice. Like this, you know, and the repetition of the horizontal lines here. And the use of the color inside works so well against the stone. And then you have that red wood, and it goes well with the red and the yellow fabric choices, and then the pops of teal here and there. And this is great. I really like when there are pictures of it lit at night and just the light kind of glowing out of it. I can envision kind of like walking through the forest and seeing this, and kind of it feels like it calls to you, but also it feels like a scene out of a movie, like when someone's been walking for forever and they don't know where they're supposed to go and they don't have anywhere to like shelter, and then all of a sudden they break through and there's this like glowing safe haven. This is great. This. I love this. Just like, I think it's a really good illustration of how the windows are intelligently designed to open up the space even more and create this flow to where it doesn't feel like it's the house and the outside. You're just going in and out. And then that open space, like I mentioned earlier about then having the nooks and crannies, like this is the study, which I think is adorable and I love it. And then there's the bookcase down to the study. You can see it here. Or not the bookcase, sorry. The stairs up to the study have a bookcase on the wall. So just all kinds of places. I love shelves. And there are all kinds of places to put my little knickknacks and display them and add my own character to the home. So yeah, that was my really long explanation of why I love the Frank Lloyd Wright house, Fallingwater. So, the next house, the one that I'm not ready to fully commit to, but that I'll play around with a little bit, my vacation home. That would have to be the Venturi, Brown, and I think maybe that one other guy, house in New Castle County. Believe that? Sure. It's a house. It's cute. I have to say, I hated this house at first. This is the first video that I watched of these houses, and I thought, oh, this is the house that I'm burning. I can't stand this house. It's atrocious. I think that's in part because this is the first picture I saw, and this is my least favorite view of the house. I think it's, I don't know, it just makes it look clunky and out of balance. And also, I'm not a big column person. You know, I'm not big on like old Roman, that kind of stuff. Not my thing. But once I was looking this up and I got these pictures, I'm like, oh, I get it. This to me reminds me of, well, it makes sense that it's kind of a cottagey home. It's not cottagey in the sense that, like, it's stone and all, but this feels like somewhere where I can envision myself here having like a garden and have like I think of pie here and like just in the summer, like kids, like I really hope there's a river or a creek nearby because I'm just thinking about like kids going down to the creek and then coming back and like running through the field and then ending up here. You know, I can see myself really having peace in this place and but also fun. Like it's playful. Um, I love this little archway. I If you put an archway like this and just tell me that it's now a fancy garden, I'll believe you. Once you put one of those, it becomes a fancy garden, in my opinion. Um, I also actually really like the tile floor. I, I wasn't so sure at first, but now it's growing on me, particularly with my vision of like kids coming in from playing outside and stuff. I can imagine kids coming in from the door and they're all like wet and gross, and the tile's great to clean up with. And it reminds me of we used to have a house in California, and it was like the old Spanish style house, and there were areas of the house that had tile floor, not exactly like this, but there was a patterned or colored tiled floor, um, even if it was just like orange stones, but they were like orange tiles, I guess, not orange terracotta. Maybe that's more what I'm looking for. That they were cut into, I think, was it octagons maybe, and kind of laid out in a pattern, but still like an interesting tile floor instead of just wood. And I really like that here. This feels like it just feels like summer. Okay, at first I hated these chandeliers, hated them, particularly this one. Disgusting. It reminds me of like in Minecraft when you're trying to make like a cool, I don't know, chandelier or something, but it's blocks and so it can't be curvy. Kind of makes me think of that. This, not really going to change on that, but I'll tolerate it. This is why it's my vacation home. But in here, I like the fact that there are these open windows, but opening up onto the inside of the house. I am a sucker for windows within houses. Like, you know how some areas will have, or some houses will have a kitchen and then the dining room area, and then in between the kitchen and the dining room area, there's a wall, but there's an opening in the wall for you to like put pass food through the opening. It's like a tiny window. I mean, it's like a window. And I love that. Windows inside are so fun. And the fact that these are like full windows inside, I just think it's fantastic. I think this living room area is nice where it's kind of tucked away, but you still get some nice light in there. It doesn't get dark just because it's kind of a lower ceiling. And then I love this view. I think this is great. Again, big window, really cool. And I think that the addition of the kind of billboardy thing on the outside ends up being really cool from the inside when you're in that perspective. And then, yeah, this room. This room I got mixed feelings about. On one hand, I'm like, it's kind of fun. On the other hand, I kind of hate it. Like, to me, the like thin wood with just that feels like cheap and fast, you know? And I know it's not, but it feels like that. But at the end of the day, I don't mind it that much, especially when I think about it as like I can see myself having fun in this space. To me, this isn't a space where like this is a space I go to have fun. Whereas my home is somewhere that I'm gonna feel all the feelings in. It's not always gonna be fun, whereas this to me is like just a fun summer space, being a kid again, like a kid again. And yeah, just enjoying not having school and that kind of stuff and playing around. That's how I see this house. I get to this one now, right? Our last house. The one I already forgot the name of. But you know what? You know what one it is. It's that white one. So, I'd thought that I'd seen the ugliest house. That I knew which one I was going to burn. Because I'd seen that country house. And then I get to this. And here's the thing. If you ask me, Sophie, what's the ugliest house? What is your least favorite house? Here's what I'm going to tell you. These houses. And sorry if like one of you lives in that house. I'm a house like that. I'm no judgment on you, you know. And this thing. And you might be thinking, those look so different. What is the relationship? The relationship between these is they are so boring and they have no character. I like a home with character. This has no character. Also, I mean, like, if you want to talk about the fact, like, the audacity to be like, I'm gonna clear out an entire big ass space of forest just to put my house here, and I believe in dominating nature. It's just so aggressive and self important. And you could really relate that to like the giant spaces filled with, you know, a million and one houses that look exactly like this, where it's in the middle of nowhere and it turned from like free grassy land into, you know, just suburban, every house looks exactly the same. I'm not saying like I feel conflicted about that because I know we need the space. I'm not getting into the politics of that. But that is a relationship between the two, in which they're similar, that kind of taking over space. And the flatness. This is so flat. I know it has the like curve on the top or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's one color. It's flat. There's no textural elements. Like if you look at the Frank Lloyd Wright house, you get there's the texture of the rock and then obviously the texture of everything around it. And the concrete is flat, but it's mixed into so many other things. It doesn't feel like it. And in the country house, even then like there's wood on the outside, like I think it's wood paneling. Um Maybe I'm crazy and I'm pulling that out of my head, but I could have swore it's wood paneling and there's just a little bit of texture there, whereas this is just flat white. There's no feeling. And I can't stand it. Also, the roof thing, it's like, okay, I actually like the idea. Like, it is a lost space that we could do something interesting with. This, to me, this flooring, this looks like any apartment building when they're like, we should have a roof space so that, like, people can go on, like, a nicer roof space. Like, it can't be a poopy roof space. We should put, like, a real floor, like, so it's not disgusting. And this is, like, it just, do you get what I'm saying? It just feels generic and like cheap. This does not feel like a home. Not cheap, but it doesn't feel like a home. This feels like just I could see this being an office building. If you told me this was an office building, I would probably believe you. It it's not welcoming at all. It's so cold. Concrete is so cold and the white it sucks everything out of me. And it's not furnished also in these pictures, which maybe it's supposed to be that way. I hope it's not supposed to be that way because I think it makes it worse. But even then, I think furniture just can't overcome certain things. And this is just disgusting. Oh, and also, like, I feel like in some kind of funky movie, I can see like an opening scene being someone walking through this house and it's silent, and then they get up here and there's a murdered woman, like right here. Just, and like there's blood seeping out and there's blood on the walls. Yeah. Next picture. This. Okay, again, it's like I see the opportunity here with that with the glass and like that nice open space, but this room and that stupid little like shelf trim, but it's not. This looks like a bad classroom or something. Like it's ugly. This is not a home. Actually, you could tell me that this was a school building somewhere. Like that some school has this and maybe this is their art building because they wanted an open space. This would be an acceptable school art building. Not a home. Not an acceptable home. Also, I hate that white bar is there because it cuts off your view. You had a beautiful view, and then you're like, white bar. And it bound to get dirty right there. Just appalling. Again, there's opportunity here. I see what is trying to be happening, but this, first of all, is too busy. All the cutting itself off, and it's just exhausting. No. And then it's this big empty space in this tiny little furniture, and I can't even visualize what furniture probably would look good in this space because it's not a home. It's so sterile. I could see this being actually a really good art classroom. Like, I think if you put some stuff in there, that could be a cool art classroom. But I couldn't get comfortable here. I couldn't relax. And it would feel like I'm... Well, actually, I'll kind of get to... No, I'll just say that. Like, no one is this clean. No one is clean enough to live in a house like this. I have things. Where are they supposed to go? There is nowhere to put them. I feel like it's just trying to expose me and make me look even dirtier than I am. Like, I've been working on being cleaner, but this, even the most organized person ever would look like a hot mess in this house. Look at that. I hate that so much. Actually, the other thing is, like, this color of tile floor, and then with the, like, weird brick and these, and I can see this, if you've ever been to, like, a summer camp, and they have kind of, like, the, like, main room where people, I don't know, like, the building where everyone comes and meets and, like, gathers, and you have events in there sometimes or something. It's just, like, a big open space. And maybe there's, for some reason, a weird fireplace in there. It has, like, this yellow tile floor, and probably it would look like this if I just cut off this whole side and made these windows maybe smaller and put like a light wood trim on them, like that kind of yellowy wood. I would fully believe you that this is something from like a summer camp somewhere. And also just get rid of those leather chairs. Just cut from there, rid of the leather chairs, wood frame, done. And they always have that yellow light in there. It's just, disgusting. And there's a difference between warm light and yellow light. Like, if someone's going to come and say, oh, well, you said you liked the warm light in the Frank Lloyd Wright house and how it's natural light and natural light's warm. To me, actually, not to me, to the world, yellow artificial light is just different than the warm, comforting, natural light. They're both warm, but yellow is warm toned, but it's like not a comforting light, that artificial. Whereas natural light, not earth light, natural light is comforting. Oh, here's the other thing. This is my room, right? I have a lot of little knickknacks, and I like putting them on shelves and on top of counters, and I like kind of creating a space, and I like having these little things because each one of them means something to me, and I feel like it's part of a little representative of part of myself. And same with the stuff, all the stuff that I have on my walls. I like this stuff. This is stuff that is important to me and allows me to put my character and myself into my home. Imagine, like, this person, dang it, in this house. Where am I supposed to put my stuff? Where is it supposed to go? Am I supposed to have it all in rows on this, like, stupid little shelf? No, that's dumb. It would just look awful. It would look atrocious. I can't, and I can't express how much I hate this house. The more I talk about it, I'm actually really growing to hate it. I just really liked this. This is it's serious and some commentary about how, like, modernism is dying. I don't care about that part. I just think I really like that there's a picture of a model of this poopy butt home being sunk, because this is what I want to see happen to it. And another person has created a, like, Photoshop. This is a model, but another person created a Photoshop of this place being graffitied. And again, it's like something deep, but for my purposes, I just like seeing it like this. I think this looks more interesting. It tells a story. This house has personality. This house does not have personality. This house has personality. So, yeah, I would love to see this house burn to the ground. Oh, wait, it probably won't burn because it's all made of stupid white concrete. I want to hit it with a big wrecking ball. I want to watch it crush. Ugh. Oh, and I'll put the names of, like, the artist thingies on here. So I guess if you're interested in, like, what it was about, you could do that.